I spent the last 5 days doing a ton of homework, to be honest, but when I found the time and wanted a break, I've hopped into the War Thunder April Fool's event in my VR headset, flying in full reel controls, manual engine controls, all of that fancy stuff, and I've managed to log 24 hours since it initially came out. No, I'm not Mr. Beast. I didn't do this consecutively, but for those wondering how this is even connected to Aces of Thunder at all, it's because War Thunder has actually used its April Fool's event for many years as a test for either future editions coming to War Thunder or for editions coming to other games under the Gaijin brand. And for the first time, World War I fighter aircraft have come to War Thunder with this event. But if that isn't good enough for me to convince you that this is actually a test for Aces of Thunder, Aces of Thunder was mentioned by name 3 times in their April Fool's event announcement page, so I'm fairly confident that this is at least partially what this was for. Now, the mode that came this week was not just for air vehicles, it was a lot for ground vehicles as well, but 4 aircraft were added, 2 of them being fighters, of which those 2 will come to Aces of Thunder, and the other 2 are sort of bombers for each side. One for the Entente forces is called the HP-12, which you can actually attain by playing the event, something you can do with all of the tanks as well. I'm pretty sure it's all of the tanks, but you can't do with any of the fighters. They say if you want to have the fighters, go get Aces of Thunder. But that does leave us with one other bomber which you can't get, which is the Zeppelin, which is actually incredibly fun to fly and to fight, especially to fight. Of course, that's for the Germans. So those 2 bombers we have not seen in any trailer for Aces of Thunder, I don't believe. We've only seen barrage balloons, and while this event was run in realistic with mouse aim, I have chosen to bear the full brutality of the point-and-click lifestyle and fight these guys in VR in a first-person perspective with a flight stick and a throttle. Now, this is my first experience in VR in a World War I scenario because I never picked up IL-2 Flying Circus, so I've never flown a biplane that is this underpowered before, but holy cow, is that surprising. Like, I swear I had a Forerunner when I was a child that ran off of a lithium-ion battery that put out more power than these frickin' engines. But it makes for a very unique dogfight. Every fight is an energy fight. Every single one. And while that can be technically true for, I guess, all dogfights, in this, you really, really feel it. Like, it's a natural progression of a fight to sort of swirl down to the deck. But in these World War I aircraft, once you swirl down to the deck, the fight is done. Like, you guys should exit and leave and go reclimb because you're either going to die to other people who are diving on you, or you are going to die to gravity. Like, gravity 100% has a kill count in this April Fool's event because your plane will fall out of the sky if you try to maneuver because the engine actually, it just can't keep it up. It can't keep enough airflow over the wings. And because of that, they're not that easy to control. However, they're not difficult enough to be prohibitive. In fact, I actually think that they are just tricky enough to be considered quirks and details for each aircraft that need to be mastered. And obviously, these all come with specific trade-offs or benefits for mastering them. From a gameplay and air combat perspective, though, that combination is a goldmine. Like, I'll give you an example. The Fokker here clearly has a better engine. It's an inline, it has a lot of torque, you can tell just when you start it up it wants to pull to the left, and in fact has a very difficult time rolling to the right at anything below 50 knots. But it climbs much better than its counterpart, which for this event was the Spad. So the Fokker retains energy and speed much better through a turn, but its low speed maneuverability, especially in the vertical or in any maneuver to the right side of the aircraft, is very poor. There were multiple times when I was flying against the Fokker where I had almost every disadvantage and beat it just by turning to the right. But I learned those quirks and what not to do, and also where your advantages lie. The Spad, for example, has a difficult time raising its nose, even though its stall speed is lower than the Fokker. So what that means is that you can utilize the vertical and some pretty good rudder kicks in the Fokker to defeat a Spad, even when they have a higher altitude advantage when they initially enter the fight. The Spad, on the other hand, is a self-proclaimed mountain climber from Florida. It feels like it can only climb with the addition of a handicap ramp. But its stall speed is very low, its roll rate is incredible, and its rudder ability is really, really nice. It also gets a very good gun sight, and it's actually what I would consider to be the better fighter between the Fokker and the Spad, especially in the hands of a newer player. And the Fokker, I would say, definitely took some more practice. But once you know those quirks, I could utilize them very specifically against my opponents, sometimes even when I was outnumbered. And the differences are not that pronounced between the planes. They are very, very evenly matched. If you come in with more energy in one of the aircraft, you're going to be able to turn tighter than the other. And that flip-flops depending on where you are, what your energy state is, and all of these different things, especially as you fall down the altitudes and you get towards the ground. It's like a fight between a MiG-15 and an F-86. It's why I say that Korea-era section of War Thunder sim jets is the best, right? Everything is so close. It's so competitive. You know that it all comes down to you. in the plane, right? Where if you don't know the quirks, the very small quirks in many cases of these specific aircraft, you may lose the fight, but that specific little bit of knowledge and a lot of applicability of the skills that you know because of that knowledge is why you win. That's what I mean when I say that this stuff and these specific aircraft and this gameplay is a gold mine. But getting off this horse, the aircraft are actually not the reason why I'm making this video. I'm making it just to sort of talk about the general feeling of World War I in VR and how the gameplay was when I played it. And to be honest, and to be 100% truthful, I have not felt this way, how I feel right now, about a specific mode in War Thunder for a very long time, but it is truly addicting. Like, I remember I went to work one day, it was one of those things that I was thinking about it all day. Like, I couldn't get it out of my head. The closeness of the fights, how visceral they feel, how intense it is, and every part of it depends on you. There's no excuses, there's nowhere to hide, right? It is a skill-based fight, 100%. And I'm sure that may change with the addition of other aircraft where, you know, specific ones clearly outperform others, but in this experience, where they were very, very balanced, my competitive side did not and has not disappeared, and the second I'm done making this frickin' video, I will be right back in it before the mode disappears for another 18 fucking months until Aces of Thunder actually decides to release. Because this was, and dare I say, the most fun I have had in War Thunder VR and in War Thunder Sim in years. And yes, I'm newer to the VR side of things. I was on a PlayStation until a few months ago. But the general experience and how much fun I had still holds true. And if Aces of Thunder captures even half of that fun and the feel of these fights, I truly do not see any way that they could fuck this up. Like, gameplay-wise, when it comes to World War I. That's not to say Aces of Thunder may not fail. Of course, it could end 1,000 different ways. But I do not believe that one of those ways will be because its World War I gameplay was poor. This has been fantastic. The only weird thing I would say is that it did not feel that you could actually hit the pilot. So, actually in the entire 24 hours and the many, many hours of just straight dogfighting that I had, enough to fill this video here. If you're still watching this, check that out after. The only pilots I ever killed were in the Zeppelin, and only from a very, very specific angle of attack. And I'm sure they do this so that people don't get, like, Red Baroned randomly from AI machine guns or just these tanks that have, like, 8 of machine guns on them. That would be no fun. But if I'm in World War I and I'm shooting at a plane, the pilot is all I'm aiming at. Because if I can't hit the guy, then I've got to bleed the engine. And the calibers of my guns are not very high, so it is going to be a slow bleed in most cases unless a fire starts. And I can't really shoot other parts of the plane because they're made of canvas. So they just kind of go right through, mostly unharmed. And I mean, obviously you can hit like wing roots and up many, many times and they'll fall apart, but it's not reliable. I would very much prefer to aim for the pilot, and I just wasn't able to. So if any of the devs are watching this by chance, first off, great job, y'all, especially if you guys made the flight models because they feel fantastic. They're very in-depth. The only thing that didn't feel that it actually worked was the radiator when I went into mech. You can only control the mixture in the radiator and specifically on this pad. I don't actually think the radiator control did anything. I could be incorrect about that, but it did not feel that it changed the temperature, didn't change my drag much. I think on the Fokker it did raise the temperature when I closed it. Didn't really affect the drag too much. Anyways, yeah, just let me kill the pilot. Thanks. Generally, though, the gameplay is fantastic. The engines feel great. They sound great. The gunplay is very nice. I would like to be able to put the pilot out of their misery when they're burning to the ground. Sometimes it feels bad because they did not model these guys to have parachutes unless you're in the Zeppelin, which is accurate. But when they're burning down to the ground, it does kind of suck. At least you're not screaming like an IL-2. I think I've seen that footage. Or maybe that was Dr. Din. I don't know. Yeah, but anyways, after 24 hours, I can confirm that plane does plane thing, and that person who likes plane things enjoyed the plane thing. If you guys want to see specific dogfights and battles from these whole 24-hour experience, you can check them out in the full video of all of my dogfights that I did, and also I'm going to be putting out a bunch of shorts and specific things to, like, really showcase them, so just subscribe. I don't actually notify subs when I put out shorts, so if you really want to catch them when they first come out, follow my TikTok or something. If you're really just craving those training days notifications on your phone for whatever reason, maybe that phone buzz in your pocket just makes you feel popular. If that's you, make sure you feel called out and like the video. How about that? Other than that, thanks for watching, y'all. I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.